All right, guys, let's talk about boundaries. Such an important part of recovery, both for the betrayed, both for the addicted. And boundaries is such a buzzword that we just kind of throw out there and say, hey, you got to have healthy boundaries. But I want to talk about what that really means. Really, what I want to do just in the next few minutes is break down a few misconceptions about boundaries and what they actually are. Maybe shed a little more light on that. So I'm going to jump right in. The first thing is that boundaries are about somebody else. Boundaries are not about somebody else. Boundaries have nothing to do with controlling somebody else to do things for you. Boundaries come from you, 100% totally and completely from you, and they are yours. And at the root of a boundary, a healthy boundary, is a truth that you have, that you hold to. And that truth might be something like, I value love or trust or fidelity or whatever it is, that I have a boundary that I need respect. That's one of my boundaries, is I value respect. And that's a truth of mine. That's 100% about me. It's not about controlling somebody else. So my boundaries come from my values, my truths, and they are about me. And it's not about control in any way. Living a boundary is just me being authentic. It's not controlling somebody. It's not forcing them to do something. It's just me being authentic. Okay. Next, expressing my boundaries is all I need. One of the most difficult things about a boundary is actually living a boundary. So I can go communicate my boundaries to other people, and they'll listen, and they'll, yeah, I can do that. That's okay. But if I don't live that boundary, then they're not gonna respect it. And so I can express my boundaries all I want, but unless I have the self-confidence and the courage and the self-compassion to actually follow through and live my boundaries, then they don't mean much. And so I need to do more than just expressing them. Now, expressing them is important. Communicating them is important. But following through with what you communicate is actually living your boundary. Okay. Next one is, I can do this on my own. If you've struggled to live boundaries in your life, then all of a sudden learning how to do it is going to be very difficult. And it's so helpful to have a support system behind you to say, hey, it's okay. It's okay for you to have that boundary. It's okay for you to live it. And yes, love yourself in that way. And if you question yourself, if you talk yourself out of things, give up your truths easily, then a support system is key for you to start to live your boundaries authentically. Okay. Last myth about boundaries is that it's selfish to take care of myself. And I see this all the time where, somebody does something to me and I say I need some space or I need some time or I just need to go take care of myself. That is not a selfish thing. It's actually a very selfless thing in a lot of ways. Because what I'm doing is I'm saying, look, I've got to go replenish. I need to go take care of myself so that I can show up for other people. And it's not selfish in any way to be honest and authentic and vulnerable in my relationships. It's actually a way for me to connect. It's a way for me to love others and to show up for others. So these are just a few myths about boundaries that get in the way. And learning boundaries, learning how to live with boundaries is so much more than just writing them down and then all of a sudden having boundaries. It is rebuilding your self-worth, having self-confidence, having love for yourself so that you can show up in a way where you're going to protect yourself, take care of yourself, and live a boundaried life. So I would love it, you guys, if you could hop on and make comments about struggles that you've had holding boundaries, living boundaries, and maybe start a discussion about it. I know there's a lot of power and a lot of good stuff that happens when we can talk about this with each other and share our experiences together. So feel free to comment below and maybe start a discussion about living with healthy boundaries.